Hi, this is Frantz, Kantor and
Jim Bridges,
and we're here at the Australian Cartoon Museum.
Here in downtown Docklands, Melbourne, Australia.
Wherever that is.
Well, it's not in Sydney,
It's at the bottom of the map, by the way, if you're watching from the Northern Hemisphere.
He's from Sydney.
So, I left my heart in San Francisco. Hello! This is Roy G. Krenkel. You may have heard of the name. He's the father of fantasy illustration. And heroic fantasy, actually. Is there a difference between heroic fantasy? So we're going to delve into this book in a second, and we'll be right back after this.
Every one of you watching this screen, look out.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
What did I tell you about cartoons?
They've got a lot of brains, and they've got a lot of chutzpah.
Tell me how comic books make you feel, Dave.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hello, hello, hello. Here we are. So Roy G. Krenkel, father of heroic fantasy. This is a centennial celebration. Centennial's 100, right? So it must be 100 years. He must be 100 years old
Since he was born.
Yeah. So this is by IDW.
Well, this looks
and it's a
very
lovely, lovely
30s,
book.
very 30s, isn't it?
No, it's 50s, 60s.
Really?
Early 60s.
Okay, all right.
So it's a kind of look. I'll read you something really important about him. Actually, these are his little quick sketches. They're beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the accuracy of Alex Toth.
Do you think that?
So you've got some really cool
Do you think
stuff.
that that's blown up much, or
Yeah.
that's its size?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
There's his signature. It's pretty close.
What's he using?
A4.
What's he using?
Just texter. Just a hard point.
Did he do comics? Not really.
Well, let's wait until we get into this. He's more of a fantasy illustrator.
Okay, so who published this book and when did it come out? We've got to do that.
We did that, IDW.
Oh.
This came out in 2018, I believe. 2019, I was wrong. There you go.
Up to date.
So you'll see a lot of these buxom wenches, these sort of fantasy women, very Rubenesque, if you know anything about Rubens. So they're very, very in between the Gibson girls and the the hippies, the hippie era. That's where it kind of sits. It's like 1950s, but they're fantasy, right? So this is all to do with an alternate reality, alternate history.
Wow, dig that.
Now he is an exponent. He's a great artist. He really knows his stuff of form and anatomy and indeed architecture, history and perspective. Thank you. I was looking for that word. So you'll see a lot of this stuff, and again, you got to take when you design dinosaurs and things in the 1950s. You have to remember that the only thing that really existed was skeletons. So a lot of the designs from illustrators...
They didn't even have skeletons, they had fossils.
Fossils, I meant, yeah. So the only thing they had to inform their anatomy was comparative anatomy between lizards, obviously, the large monitors and things like that.
Yeah, but you've got to make up your own stuff too, you know what I mean? The point is, you've got to make up, that's what the artist does.
So you're going to see a lot of designs of creatures that are kind of contrary to how we understand creature design today. This is a lovely article
What's
here.
This?
I'll just work out who is it who wrote this. We'll find out the end.
Ah, yes.
Damsett, so one of the editors. I bookmarked this page. These are the awards that he's won, right? So you've got the Hugos, you've got the Lifetime Achievement from that's
World Fantasy.
Yeah. Who is that guy? That's Who is he? Damn it.
That's not him.
The octopus guy.
Oh, the octopus guy.
Yeah, the Arkham. Yeah, him. Anyway, H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes.
I keep reminding myself it's the source. So it's both spelling. Get it? Never mind. So listen to this. Roy fathered, verted commas, a bridge between the old masters by introducing them to a new crop of green, soon-to-be modern masters, their work being newly appreciated and adapted, continuing the tradition of heroic fantasy illustration. He fostered and encouraged, as I said earlier, talents such as Frazetta, Williamson, Kaluta, and Jones.
All great blokes.
Yeah, who in turn have inspired their own group of admirers and talents, and so on and so on. The continuing legacy. So this is why Roy G. Krenkel's important, not so much because of his oeuvre of work, which is quite astonishing, by the way, I must admit. It is really beautiful. But also his effect and inspiration that he's had on other artists.
A lot of he was obviously also connected to 19th century art.
Yeah,
paintings.
He's referencing, the Orientalists, the paintings.
Yeah, the Orientalists,
Yeah.
That's the road to Mecca.
Yeah.
You think they're the three wise men?
Well, a lot of you've got to remember that that Orientalist sensibility permeated in the novels, the novellas in the 50s, 40s and 50s.
See, this could be
This is 1950.
It could be a Poussin.
Yeah. Cities from the ancient world. So, it's a lovely watercolor or Indian ink wash illustration for a book.
Yep.
Or a magazine. This is quite interesting. This is Norman Lindsay. So Norman Lindsay is roughly the same era, maybe a little bit before. But this is one of the many ink and pencil drawings Ray did in the mid-1940s that bear the influence of Australian illustrator Norman Lindsay. Now you can see with the pen strokes here, it actually looks like a Norman Lindsay. It's a little bit looser in some parts, but this is definitely Norman Lindsay. If nothing else tells you that this is a Norman Lindsay, or a reference to Norman Lindsay, is the costumes and the hairdos. And the bacchanalia, the idea of the nouveau, the French nouveau riche of the 1700s. Marie Antoinette. This is an early illustration for Elsprague de Camp's Great Cities of the Ancient World. So he loved these architectures. He often referred to them again and again. Little bits of Vikings and Phoenician galleys and things like
Roman
that.
galleys.
Yeah, so it was, there was this resurgence in a way in the 1950s.
Look, they even had pollution in the water in those days.
Yes, they did. There's a resurgence of the interest in fantasy and the Middle East or Orientalism, but with a fantastic slant to it. So it was like the ancient, the very, very ancient. Like Conan the Barbarian, Hyperborea, which is the world before the Great Flood.
Well, that's another homage to
Norman Lindsay, yeah. So you can see he has a great range of influences himself. He's got a very strong sense of composition and classical
bold, straight lines,
design. Very, very strong. Yeah,
very strong. Yeah.
Very cool pen and chalk. I think this one, pen and white pencil. So, starting to experiment with watercolor. He'll come back to watercolor later on. This is quite like a colored drawing rather than an actual traditional style watercolor. But you can see that there's these you can see the propensity for the classical, almost the Rubenesque or the Oriental version of a Rubenesque model.
Well, that's a very modern idea of Joan of Arc at the stake, is it? The sacrifice.
Yeah.
I like the pen work.
One thing to note here, one of the great influences of Frazetta was his Roy G. Krenkel's tigers and lions.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of that here. That looks like a very cool Wyeth drawing. Wyeth was a little
look at the
bit
reflection.
Wyeth was at the turn of the century, so there was. We could talk about. We'll actually talk about Wyeth another day.
So-
Again, this is
so
another homage to Lindsay.
He's basically a book illustrator.
Yeah.
He didn't do paintings, big paintings or anything like that.
No,
He certainly didn't do comics.
not to my knowledge, but I haven't seen the end of this book, so
Yeah.
we may get a surprise. But his pen and ink drawings are, there were pen and ink artists prior to Roy G. Krenkel. He's certainly got a very strong
tradition.
style. Yeah.
Strong tradition.
So there is a very strong link. That's the other thing too. There's almost like this pebble, this what do you call it? Stepping stone path of from classical art to fantasy
This
art.
type of art nearly died out, and it wasn't for his influence that you wouldn't get guys like Williamson and Kaluka and all those people. Who got back into the line. The classical stuff.
Yeah. This is lovely. This sort of basket weave crosshatch effect, very, very effective. Again, powerful use of perspective, which figures in a landscape. Basically, that's what you're looking at here.
Well, they're like beginning of movies, aren't they?
Yeah. This is that's the Tower of Alexandria.
Well, what's his name?
Harbour of Alexandria.
The lighthouse.
Yeah, and some of these. This is a watercolor sketch, and this is another watercolor sketch. So these are just working out the composition and the details and the focus point.
They don't tell you the size.
As you would expect from a master painter.
Unlike art books, they don't tell you the size.
Well, you kind of see where this is. It's sort of like a tissue paper.
Yeah.
So he's placed the tissue paper over the original drawing and done a quick composition, colour composition, just to work out his colour schemes and values. Because it's not just about colouring the drawings. There is a layering and a use of values. Because every time you put paint down, it changes the value, which is the light and dark.
Nice pencil.
Yeah.
That shows you the size, can't you? You can see the size.
Yeah. So there's a lot of,
They're not that big. They're not that big, really, are
no,
they?
it looks very, very rough, right? But
Whereas
there's a lot
Norman Lindsay did really big stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a great picture.
Yeah.
And they were great because when they were reduced in size, they had this extraordinary quality because he drew them so big.
Yeah. So a lot of these are very rough, but they have an intensity and a power and a purpose to them. Which is really, really good. I love this sort of focused effect. It's almost like a Rembrandt where you have this spotlit area. You can't quite make it out with this, but the original values here would be very, very strong. You've got a lot of light happening over this drawing, simple drawing on tone paper using white pencil or white chalk. So, a lot of these cloud forms you can expect from Homer Pyle. Golly! No, I'm looking for Howard Pyle.
Howard Pyle.
His brother. Well, golly! Surprise, surprise, surprise. That's Homer Pyle.
I know.
You're supposed to say, Pyle!
No. I liked his voice, but he could sing. And he had good taste in men.
But he could sing.
Rock Hudson.
Wasn't he? Let's not talk about that.
Okay, well, let's not talk.
Jump over that.
We'll jump over that.
Because I quite like Rock Hudson.
Well, so do I.
Yeah. So, these are lovely little pen sketches. You see experimenting with different materials. Red ink and brown ink and things, rather than the traditional Indian ink. So there's a lovely sense of playfulness within the illustrative process. And, an undeniable strength here is his use of perspective. It's just overwhelming in a way. Nobody, not even Frazetta, could sort of, nobody, maybe Kaluta,
Well, it's
later on.
It's like he wants
very
to.
studious,
It's like he
isn't it?
wants to fill all the gaps in the drawing with perspective, basically, doesn't he?
Yeah. But it gives you that access to a window, sort of a spatial effects. It's incredibly
that's the drawing
spatial.
we saw before.
Yeah,
That's the whole drawing.
yeah.
Oh, these are nice too, aren't they?
Man of Mars. So this is his early stuff, early inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. These are like his teen years, I guess, or his pre-teen exposure.
Early
You can
teen.
see it, the
Done
early
in his
teen.
early teens.
Yeah, exposure to.
That's nice.
This is at the age of 8.
He's obviously spent a lot of. Oh, yeah. He's left out 2 of the arms.
Yeah,
No, that came later.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Medal winner.
Well, he won a medal for it, didn't he?
Yeah.
An art exhibition. They remind me of early Tarzan drawings.
Yes. Well, he would be exposed to, Tarzan's
The very
work.
early drawings. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There's a bit of Don Quixote for you in there. Looks like.
Not enough. Not
Space.
enough Don Quixote.
Yeah. But you can see his influence of science fiction and
yeah.
fantasy,
Oh, yeah,
as a vehicle or a sort of a subject matter for doing these beautiful studies. That is lovely. That's really lovely.
Pencil,
Film style,
lovely
pencil
pencil,
drawing.
yeah.
How beautifully studied this is, to create. Most of this is done with a very light touch. With
Yes.
the pencil at
Yeah.
like turned to the side almost.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very soft, and a lot of this highlights are scrubbed back using that.
A rubber and a razor.
Well, probably
That rubbery one, what do you call it?
needed a razor.
Yeah, needed a razor, yeah.
Yeah, or it could be one of those paper sticks. But you can see his, use of. Whenever he gets into the toned paper, you start to see a very painterly effect, because it's a warmth to it. There's definitely tone, there's definitely volume and light, study of light, but there's a lovely excuse for warm tones, which really help the flesh, help the picture take on a life. These are lovely. Myrna Loy, Ginger Rogers, Ronald Coleman. Nice little experiment. This is
For a pulp.
this is very pulp with the underlighting and things like that.
Very.
This,
yeah.
I think,
Well, he changed styles. hasn't
very
he?
very influential to Michael Kaluta.
Yeah.
Now you can see by the hairstyles and the facial types of what era this is, right? So you're looking at the
early Doc Savage.
Yeah, you're looking at the late 40s, 1950s, early 50s.
It's a great film. Things to Come, H.G.
Yeah.
Wells.
It is, yeah.
Ooh.
So here, getting into book illustrations here from pulp magazines, an early pen and ink pulp magazine story illustration.
So this is
Typically, these were reprinted, and you have to excuse this sort of washed out effect of the Indian ink because it fades, or the texture fades after time. But the
he wouldn't have been
the
around
effect,
with textures, would he?
Yeah, that's definitely
You're
texture.
kidding.
Yeah, that's texture. So what I was going to say was this style reproduced incredibly well.
Textures came out in the 60s, didn't they?
Yeah, well, their version, the 1950s version.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. The giant, the
A
spirit
felt
of
tip
the
pen.
spirit of the
Felt tip.
spirit of the
Forest.
forest. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to say that this.
Nice use of scale.
The reason why pen and ink was so prolific in that era was because in pulp magazines it was printed on really terrible newsprint, because it was essentially paperback paper.
But
Paperback
he's
book
obviously
paper.
influenced by book.
So you have to have
book
something.
illustration.
Yeah. Well, that's what these are.
Yeah.
So they would reproduce really, really well in that limited, format. It's a book plate back drawing. Very nice. These are
Very old-fashioned.
slipcase dust cover. So dust covers were like, this sort of leather-bound cover with an inset which is pressed, and then an inserted picture,
bookplate.
a full colour picture is stuck into the bookplate. And this is designed for the slip cover of a book on J. Allen St. John portfolio. So really nice. This is interesting. Edgar Rice Burroughs, ERB Dom, the Burroughs fanzine, because it's Edgar Rice Burroughs. Of course, it was really, really popular because of Tarzan, and he had, his own sort of. They had their own magazine. So early Tarzan here, early comic sample page of Tarzan.
It's influence of Hal Foster, because Hal Foster was the first Tarzan cover, wasn't he?
Yeah. So.
There's
Very
solid
interesting.
drawings, solid.
Yeah,
Solid
again,
drawing.
because of the newsprint factor, these had to use a lot of very clean line and solid and blacks to show contrast.
And the drama.
Yeah, these
Dinotopia.
this sort
Years
of
before their time.
what's another Barsoom thing you can tell by the Barsoom and Pellucidar. So you can tell by the strange headgear. But again, very loose, but guess what? It reproduced, because its pen reproduced a treat in those magazines. It's a beautiful pencil, probably a preliminary to an ink drawing, so we may find the ink drawing later on. Let's reserve our judgment for the dinosaurs because of what I said to you before. Some lovely...
These are all
quick
taken.
sketches.
These are all
These things
taken
are-
from. This book's taken from originals, aren't they?
Yeah, you can see with some of these extreme poses, action poses and things of the animals and the barbarians and even the hare, right? Figures in repose actually have this sort of wind-blown, tossed hair. So again, you're looking at a page that really excited Frazetta.
Crazy Cat.
Kokomo, yeah. And again, it's very handy to look at these illustration compositions, these little
spot
thumbnails.
yellows, yeah.
I love thumbnails because they're so revealing. Because of such a confined space, you can get quite a lot of very strong
And plus
imagery.
That's when they do their
design, composition.
Their
Working out.
Their what do you call it? Their compressed drawing. Their
Thumbnails.
yeah, but they're compressed. What's the phrase I've got? Shorthand.
Shorthand.
They use their shorthand in those drawings.
Yeah.
And it's always playful. It's always great
Yeah.
to look at how
So-
they simplify it to such a degree.
Yeah. Again, a few illustrators use these sort of sweeping strokes to indicate the sky and the clouds, and that really worked. It was so effective.
Yeah.
So the combination of those long sweeping strokes with a tight little basket weave effect, gave this sort of incredible amount of energy and dynamics. So, very popular style. That. Something to think about. Long strokes, contrast in the technique itself.
They were taught that at school,
So loose and sharp. Sharp, loose, right? Which is Frazetta. Yeah. I don't know if they were taught this at school.
No, but
This is
I'm
different.
saying these long lines because the artist used to sort of do long strokes like this, I've seen original Norman Lindsay's, and he's got a guy standing with striped trousers.
Yeah.
And the trousers are about 1.5 feet high, and you can just see his lines just gone down like that with the ink, one movement.
Yeah.
It's not on the paper, it's just loose.
These have been reproduced quite a lot, these sort of Tarzan sketches. They were used in the publication, in the book, so they're, every chapter or something had a little illustration like this. And, despite it being so loose in a way, it was really, really beautiful and effective.
Look at all
Cape
this.
Girl. You can see now the buxomness, the what do you call it? The fleshiness of the female characters. Very influenced, greatly influenced.
Beautiful.
Frazetta.
Oh, I think this is one of my favourite drawings so far.
Yeah, it's nice. There's a lot of variety here.
Yeah, look at all this different.
and there's method in the madness. So if you step back, take an overview, you can start to see the highlights within the jungle leaves itself, within the canopy, and even things take on incredible amount of movement. The vines around tree trunks, that's like one massive tree, and the contrast is created organically, or the composition is created organically with these flowing shapes that lead into each other, and then you've got this beautiful set of contrast over here. So if you can imagine this as a painting, this would be magnificent. This is like a masterpiece. This, equal to Frazetta. So again, these are beautiful little thumbnails. I love these thumbnails. They're fantastic. They're solidly working out the mind of a master. You're looking at the solutions here, the different color palettes that he's trying to work with. Remember that this is not digital, so when you make a mistake in color, it's there, right? So you have to work out your ideas ahead of time and where you want the eye to be, to drift and what time of day, etc. Setting up contrast between the two protagonists. You've got the saber-tooth. You've got a whole bunch of characters there. Small, looks like an Allosaurus and a don't know what that is, a Deinonychus or whatever, and a saber-tooth and a baby mammoth, and it's a whole bunch of different characters. So you're creating this this dynamic contrast between the foreground characters and the background. So it's a story. And that's the thing about illustrations. And this is why Roy G. Krenkel is so powerful, because his pictures tell a story. In many ways, you don't need to read the book. And
is that your excuse?
Unless it's Robert E. Howard, then by all means read the book.
Robert E. Howard. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a poetic master. These are lovely. These are beautiful. The Chessmen of Mars series, the Fighting Man of Mars. The action is again like Frazetta. The peak. It's the pinnacle. I'm going to go with picture-in-picture on this. So make a point. So. It's we're looking at this camera. So what it is, right? It's the zenith of the action. It's the peak of the action. So it's just before the death stroke, right? And it has a sense of compactness, of purpose.
Well, because you're along with the murder. You're along with the carnage. You're just there.
Well, in fantasy, there's no murder or carnage.
No, but I'm just saying when he's
justified homicide.
When he's just about to thrust the
the killing stroke, the coup de grace.
You're there with them. You're there with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave this on for a moment. We might refer to the camera in a sec. So again, look at this. This is like, oh my goodness.
That's strong. It's so strong.
Yeah, it reminds me of Kaluta's Metropolis drawings.
Yeah,
beautiful.
That's so strong.
Yeah, but look at the layering effect, the foreground, midground, background. It's a beautiful ballet of forms that describes space. Space.
Space.
Yeah, it's one of the 7 elements of art. Beautiful stuff. Little book plates here, little things. These are sketches. You can tell by the overly loose effect of a pen. These are lovely little things. Again, they're pencil on looks like butcher's paper.
Does.
It's yellowed, right?
Yeah.
What does that tell you about?
Well, we don't have butcher's paper anymore.
No, you have to buy it.
You have to buy it. That's right.
You don't have newspapers either. You have to buy them.
You always have to buy newspapers.
No, you could dig up a floor. Use as
I like this because he's used.
That's beautiful.
See how the paper's all gone curly because of he's put water on it and it's all drawn. It's not.
Well, this is
pre-stretched watercolour.
No, but this paper is very thin, so it would pick up moisture anyway without any help. So you didn't sneeze.
When he does a bit of black, you can see the.
Yeah. But that's a pen and ink on very thin paper.
Yeah.
So all this fragile.
All this stuff is original.
It is.
They're all taken from originals.
They are, yes, and they're photographed. They're not sort of heavy-handed, scanned in. This is a lovely piece here, color, edition of what is
Escape
that?
on
Color comp.
Venus.
It's not even the final thing. It's a gouache painting. Some sketches for Barsoom. You know, he's working out the creature design.
Tell us about Barsoom. I know nothing about Barsoom. You mentioned it before.
Well, Edgar Rice Burroughs. So
okay.
it's
Is it name of a book or a town?
well, it's
Barsoom.
it's John Carter of Mars.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, and this is very, very interesting. Very interesting. This is an interest in a sort of an Art Deco approach to technology. Remember, this is alien technology.
Yeah, this is
So
too.
you can't have anything that looks like, hey, that looks like a 1950s syringe. No. So it's got to be very special.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful pose. That's a lovely pose.
Oh, so hang on. So that's him.
Yeah, that's a colour version of that guy, a vignette, colour composition.
Before he does the final cover.
Yeah.
63. God. This guy's really slipped under my... I heard his name, but he slipped under
Yeah,
my...
everybody... well, it's because of where he was published. Most of the
Yeah.
work was published in, Fantastic magazine or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So they're like, really on the radar of serious science fiction and fantasy
And he's the man himself.
readers.
He's the man himself.
This is Roy, yeah. This is him in the 1960s. So he's almost like a
Looking a bit like Herman
scientist.
Hesse there.
Yeah.
Ralph.
These are lovely. These are little, very fluid. Ralph Bakshi, very truly yours, Ralph Bakshi. This is 1975. Dear Roy, congratulations on your portfolio. So that's very interesting. And this is
Well,
by
it took him
Ralph.
a while to do Fire and Ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Ralph Bakshi, of course, the animation director. He's also a very accomplished artist in his own right and exhibits, or used to exhibit in New York.
It's Norman Lindsay again.
Yeah.
You can see it in the post.
Ex Libris book. What are they? They're called Ex Libris.
Yeah.
So they're, this book belongs
plates,
to
yeah.
book plates.
Carol's book.
Yeah. And a lot of the artists, by the way, used to do, in rare editions, they would hand illustrate book plates. This book belongs to. They would hand illustrate it. So that was a good source of supplemental income.
Well, your old friend James Kemsley had hand-drawn book plates by Norman Lindsay. I saw him at his house.
So we're starting to see dinosaurs starting to be well designed, well thought out, and he was quite instrumental in that. So he started with things like the pteranodons, pterodactyls, or whatever, the Eohippus, and Brontosaurus, of course.
We're
which is
covering
very
up the
beautiful.
artwork. Can we? You're not seeing that?
Yes, you are. There you
Oh,
go.
there it is. Okay. Yeah.
No. We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the thing. I'll just turn this off.
Yeah.
We've had enough seeing my face.
Yeah.
So this one here, you can see the beautiful long lines there. There's another Ex Libris book plate, and really beautiful stuff. Let's move a little bit. Oh, that's quite a detailed version. There's a lot of influence of the bacchanals and the
Yeah.
Lindsay was a illustrator,
Yeah,
he liked that era,
Yeah,
and in
but-
that era was a lot of these sort of figures in a landscape fantasy, Pan and that sort of stuff. I
But
can't
Lindsay
remember
loved
the
to.
name for it.
I mean, there is a lot of very short-minded people in his day, and so he just loved to shove breasts up in their face and always nudity. He was always, he was regarded as a shocking artist
Yeah,
in Australia, anyway.
these are lovely little studies
Yeah.
of personalities. And we're starting to get
self-caricature.
into some caricatures, a
Christmas
little bit
cards.
of loosening up and using
Yeah.
more cartoon sensibility for the designs and that. Very interesting. Very interesting. Cool. Ooh, very cool. These are Sirens and Sibyls. Which are different ends of the spectrum.
Sybil had a lot of personalities.
This is on grey paper with a sort of a bluish tone, dark grey pencil, coloured pencil, and a white coloured pencil. So, a very formative, creating a sense of volume and mood and lighting. Very, very strong. Beautiful stuff. That's very Norman Lindsay. Homage to Lindsay, it's called. Goddess of Earth. Very interesting.
That's very strong too, isn't it? Just a rough.
So, like Lindsay.
That's a great rough.
And Frazetta also, they had this sort of a look, right? So think about the Gibson girls, right? So they had a certain look.
Yeah, well, Lindsay had the same. He had the same model, and they all look the same because he's drawing the same model all the time over and over.
Yeah, and even when he didn't use the same model, he picked a model that looked sort of similar.
That's right.
A very complementary look to the main models. That's a famous pose. This is that's from a pin-up. So he's referring to another pose by another artist. Yeah, beautiful. Again, the sense of the loose zeroing in to the tight areas of the faces and expressions. Again, that's like a Mars, like Bassoon style. You can tell from the headdress.
Well, he's had fun here, hasn't he? He's moved into the crumb territory.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That looks like it's referring to a sculpture.
Yeah. Oh, he's housed in classical art.
Yeah.
Look at this. It's a pity you can't see this. Look at the lines in there.
Oh, yeah. So it's almost a Virgil Finlay effect.
Yeah, but look at all the effects on her dress we can't see. You just can't see them.
Yeah.
They should have blown that up.
They
probably had a policy.
Do it on the other camera.
They probably had a policy not to blow pictures up, just to keep as original as possible. It's funny too. Look, this is almost like Jeff Jones, isn't it?
Yeah. So these are beautiful. They're lovely works. The Sirens.
Do you want to have a look at? Well, this is interesting. You see the?
Yeah, they're stipple, but the stipples are in a
and all this pattern. See this pattern?
A pattern.
How he does it, and then it comes down over the leg with the other stipple behind it.
Yeah, so it would have taken a long time. The pose looks like a very 1950s pin-up pose from the photograph.
Well, it mentions Virgil Finlay there, so he's obviously
Well, the technique, but the pose itself is probably from a figure book from 1950s.
That's
very
Lindsay. Yeah, very Lindsay.
American Aphrodite. Very interesting. It's a bit see that spotlight effect, which was popular by Rembrandt and Gustave Doré. Beautiful stuff.
He would have been influenced by Doré. He would have been influenced by Doré, but you can't see it really in his work, can you? Because everybody was really influenced by Doré,
It's hard to tell a rough from Roy's Exotic Women. So he has actually published these himself privately, I think. Well, there could be like pin-up books. I'm not quite sure about the era of, whether they did like, I guess they would have called them pin-up books or good girl art or something like that. So girls in fantasy, nudes in fantasy situations.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong.
Well, it's because of these long lines combined with these tight lines, the little strokes creating a sense of form. It's a good contrast. This is a famous beast, the two-horned rhino. getting into the saber-tooths. Very nice. But even see with his sketches he's worked out, you know, the ledge and the type of plants. You've got, you know, these sort of lily-type plants, and he's worked out the jungle or the fauna as well, or the flora as well as the fauna. That's really interesting. And look at this, is, you know, this sort of
biblical,
rain cloud.
almost biblical,
Yeah, exactly.
but powerful.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, look at that.
the big dragonflies. Again, you're starting to see more work done on the design, the creature design of the T-Rex and the other dinosaurs. So it's easier to do.
Oh, his version of the lion attacking the dog.
Yeah.
But it's a saber-tooth attacking the horse, I should say. Look, that's great too. Look, running away.
Look how dynamic that is.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like those great painters you see in the turn of the last century.
That's strong.
Yeah.
So strong.
Well, foreground, background.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah, but
Ooh, this is interesting. This is oil vignette. So he has a sort of loose
gessoed canvas.
gessoed
board.
canvas board.
Okay. Is that stretched over a board?
No, canvas board is it's commercially prepared.
Okay.
Canvas stuck, glued to.
Yeah, that's what I
cardboard.
mean. It's stuck on a board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of so.
Yeah. So that sort of vignette effect of painting this white
This is
paint
interesting
after
too. Look at all the line.
the
Look
painting.
at all the work he's done on it. Oh, it's a rough, I know, but it's a lot of.
Yeah.
I like it.
This sort of loose, sketchy oil paint effect was very, very popular, very popular, and that's you can see a lot of Frazetta influence in this too, because he had a good handle on the technique of the tools, as
Lovely
you could
piece.
see
Look, lovely
with
piece.
everything. And this is beautiful because the
light,
the shape, the silhouette of the dinosaur of the I forget the name of these duck-billed dinosaurs. It doesn't look like
well,
a
he's
duck-bill.
making some of these.
Some
up,
of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, that sort of light and shade, that extreme dark and light contrast. It's really cool. Works beautifully in the books. So you can start to see some correct now designs of creature designs of the Brontosaurus,
The Pathosaurus,
the T-Rexes or the Allosauruses, and the Brachiosauruses,
and it looks like he's drawn that
correct.
perfect, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, and even the later mammalian period.
Let's put some
the
extra ribs
Eohippus
in
and
there.
stuff.
Let's make some.
Yeah, so it's all starting to be correct now, and this is, you know, it's really important to understand
Chewing the tail.
that until somebody really committed and structured these things and started to draw these things, they weren't really popular.
Well, I don't know.
Dinosaurs
I mean,
were
it
not
all
that
started
popular.
with Fantasia, surely.
Well, that was what was that?
39.
39.
3940.
Yeah.
It really, you know.
Well, I
Kids saw that and they never forgot it, and they probably all grew up to be paleontologists, you know.
Yeah, but I remember as a kid growing up and looking at designs of dinosaurs, and there really was, you know, I mean, obviously Jurassic Park T-Rexes and Velociraptors and things were sort of like the pinnacle of design, creature design. But up until then, there was sort of a hit and miss. A lot of the illustrators sort of got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know,
you can see it in the history of the illustration. You
yeah,
can.
so when you base things on comparative anatomy, you're only referencing things like, well, to design a dragon, you have to reference, mammals and birds and lizards.
See when he does a drawing like this, it's almost going back to Dutch art or something, you know, with the details and things like that. It's not like it's, you know what I mean? He's definitely got his feet in the history of art.
Yeah, but the
Grounded.
romantic painters
Yes.
of the last century, the 1880s and things,
Yeah.
they had this sort of canopy of cloud and little gaps that allowed this sort of spotlighting effect. So the spotlight was a device to highlight the drama in the scene. And a lot of the drama was created with this sort of confrontation between prey and
Well, it's
and
twilight
predator.
and nocturnal storm, so it's about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that just heightens the moment. That extends the, it's sort of a symphonic way of creating
Yes.
a dramatic
Yes.
image.
I like your use of the word symphonic.
Yeah. So there's a lot of elements.
Very descriptive there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different elements. This is a beautiful drawing of foreground, midground, and background. You can see the confrontation between actually. Why is he falling into the gutter? This lion confronting these elephants in the background across a gap.
This is a special book.
Nice. And this is an oil painting
Of the
version
same thing?
of that. Yeah. So he's made some.
Except he's moved out.
He's moved
moved out
things
of the
around.
gutter. He's moved out of the gutter.
Yeah. It's nice how it's loose. Again, the romantic.
It's great seeing how
effect with the clouds,
with the looseness and stuff.
spotlighting.
It's great how you see how it's done.
That's
one
lovely.
of the. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So the clouds it's a homage to the romantic
Oh,
pastorals.
a stegosaurus.
Yeah, pastorals. That's what these are. The animals, fauna and flora,
Yeah.
in a painterly setting.
Ooh.
Isn't that nice?
is good.
I've seen this quite a lot, actually, to describe the sort of, the jungle where it meets the water,
Yeah.
the swamps, things like that.
This is
This is
almost
getting-
French. Almost
Yeah, it's
French,
starting to
isn't it?
get very decorative. So,
Yeah, very French.
people like
Bit of plain air there.
yeah, very influential to other
Robert E.
illustrators.
Howard.
Robert E. Howard, of course,
Yeah.
Conan, and a whole bunch of different Scarlet Citadel, Robert E. Howard book.
Well, he's really pushing these out, isn't he?
Yeah, so Robert E. Howard wrote a lot of these barbarians and, adventurers, Conan the Adventurers, Conan the Destroyer. So it's all about battles and romance. And, it's very sort of heady and incredibly dramatic. There is no way near as much politics as, say, the later science fiction books.
Pushing these things out, aren't they? Very quick.
Yeah, but they're
They're mood
these are
pieces.
illustrations
They're
in a
mood
book.
pieces. They're mood pieces.
Exactly, yeah. So they're really important to have in a book. As I said, you do it right, you don't need to read the book. But, Robert E. Howard, easy reading. Starting to get these barbarian types. They're sort of working out the face. Of course, that was like, Frazetta's big, which we'll see later on in another book. He used to design this sort of person of the barbarian, Conan.
Well, this is a big piece because look at all the sticky.
Yeah. Arabian Nights again, the influences Orientalist painters and things like that. Very, very
Ooh,
cool.
nice
Very interesting.
enchantments.
Yeah. It's chapter 8. It's quite a big book, this.
We might have
Pirates,
to split this in
Buccaneers.
half. We might have to split this in half. Oh, look at that's a great one. Look at that. That's great too. Look at that. Wow.
Some more book plates.
They're all Lindsay's.
They're Lindsay's.
They're all Lindsay's.
Copying drawings of Hal Foster, Joseph Clement Cole, Alan St. John, which we'll look at. I've got books of these, except Hal Foster. I don't have that. That's on the cover.
So he did that while he was in his 20s. So what did I say? It was 30s.
A stylized self-portrait.
And you said it's 50, so it's pretty early.
No, in his 20s.
Yeah, so it'd be. It wasn't done in the 50s. I love the shorthand, like how quickly they can get everything down on paper with less line and less.
So Neanderthals are a very, very popular subject matter for Frazetta, and the sort of primeval,
Yeah.
the festooned logs and things like that.
Big brains.
Yeah.
Big brains.
Well, us.
No, they did. They had big brains.
Okay.
an interesting drawing too, isn't it? All that. It looks like Mowgli.
Female Mowgli.
Yeah. It's a bit of
Doré.
Doré in that, yeah.
So a lot of
It's
these
great looking at these Ruspa.
library books, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
great.
beautiful. They?
How
They're
quickly he's actually
little scenes,
sketched them out.
and the use of the pediments and
Yeah.
you know, the framing and the other moss around.
I mean,
them and
he's
things
giving
to
a
sort
feeling
give them more
of marble. With,
yeah,
God, that's so Lindsay.
yeah. I forgot that he refers a lot to Lindsay. It's interesting to see it. You can also see a lot in the
These ghost walls or
women's
something.
faces.
Ghost walls.
Yeah. Cool. Huh. The titles of proposed pictures. Titles for proposed pictures. Tale of Prowess. The Woman Stealers. The New Spear. Rabbits. These ideas that he had. He wrote down these little memory joggers for ideas for paintings and drawings, sketches.
Oh, that's very foreshadowing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a nice drawing of movement. It's a beautiful gestural drawing.
So he didn't do etchings. He didn't really do etchings, did he?
Well, etchings are a really slow process, I guess.
Well, I mean, Norman Lindsay did lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is more
that's
interested
very
in his pen drawings.
un-Lindsay that. Can you have a look at this? Wow.
Yeah, this is like the decorative part of illustration. Or you get decorating a part, so there's going to be a title or a body of copy or something, or this book belongs to.
Yeah.
So it's illustrating. It's illustration, in a sense, decorating or a decorative element to the illustration process.
Look, this is his address. That's
Yeah.
that's
Springfield,
That's
New
his
York.
card.
Yeah.
That's thin.
Finished. Telephone. Oh.
It's funny. Look,
Yeah, it's a very alley-oop
it is. Yeah.
character. So I like these sort of Sinbadish pirates, of, you know.
Thick blood on their blade.
More John Carter of Mars. This is quite interesting. Dinosaurs and Art Deco. The old and the new.
Well, that's almost sculpturish, isn't it? It's
This is, it's influenced by the work of Alan St. John. So,
1930s. He did
yeah.
that. Evocative, very evocative picture.
so he'd be in his 20s. 1930s. There's on the back of a letter. Or something, auction stamp or something on the back which ruined the artwork. Bled through. Early sketch, hallucination.
Early postman.
Yeah.
I can see him working.
That's
Can't you see him working
that's
for Hollywood?
reminds me of
Can't you see him working for Hollywood?
Queen of Sheba painting.
Oh, it looks like Solomon the Wise.
Yeah.
Joe Orlando. Well, there's a name we know.
Yeah. Look at that perspective.
Yeah.
The devices used to establish space in a very solid form.
Well, let's go back. That's surely that's Ben.
Ben-Hur, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ben-Hur because that's the story. He
Yeah.
accidentally pushes the thing off and it hits
Tile.
a soldier and he ends up in the galleys. And look,
The dialogue from the movie. This would have come out in the same time, wouldn't it? Surely in the 50s.
Don't know.
film. Oh, nice. Unfinished pen.
I mean,
Over
his
pencil.
roughs are like other people's finished works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's so skillful.
Pulps and machines. So we get a little insight into his design for machinery and science fiction. So we have fantasy before. Now we're going into the machinery.
Yeah.
There's more of a science
The
fiction era.
War of the Worlds.
So let's have a look at how he.
He's mixing
Figures.
his metaphors.
Yes, all of these are oil paintings.
Yeah.
Not quite sure. I think these are larger magazines had colour. They had full colour. So I think this is probably where they were reproduced. I think without reading these, they're not certainly not pulp magazines.
A bit of Norman Rockwell there, scratching the back of his head.
Yeah. These are really interesting, these shapes that he gets in. There's sort of a decorative Art Deco effect
Look at that guitar.
in the machinery.
Look at the guitar.
Again, you know, if you ever wanted to delve, if you like this sort of style, look at Michael Kaluta's work. Michael Kaluta
yes.
was greatly influenced by Krenkel.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those shadow comics.
Yeah, Machines, Metropolis. Very interesting. You've got the design of the space suits and things, you know, the bubbles, the use of that, the piping from that era. The keyboard, look at the keyboard, they're all sort of dials. An early robot.
This is, look at this.
Tram. We had Centaur-driven trams in Melbourne.
You had a station in Sydney named after him, didn't you?
The Centaur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the designs of these. There's a helicopter.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's incredible stuff. Warren. Okay, so early Warren illustrations. The Wendigo. Okay, from Eerie magazine, number 10. I'm not sure if he did covers. We'll have a look together to see if he did covers, but these were certainly ideas for covers. Very cool. Again, Eerie magazine at that particular time, they used a lot of artwork, and they gave people like Frazetta and Jones and Kaluta. Was Kaluta in there? Barry Wrightson.
Yeah.
I don't think Kaluta did it. That's a very Creepy 6. Okay, so Frazetta rendered this. So this was a drawing that Roy drew and Frank Frazetta painted. That's where this comes from. So he used to draw the layouts for a lot of these ideas. Some of the artists combined efforts and created some really extraordinary covers for Eerie and Creepy. It's nice stuff. Unused cover. It's a little bit sort of slow and it's, still good.
Well, lots of people have unused covers in their drawers, don't they? That's their
The Yeti.
yeah.
That's a lovely composition.
Look at this,
Yeah.
and there's the hand coming up here.
That looks like a Boy's Own
Yeah, well,
type of
it looks,
illustration.
yes, that's
adventure
right.
book.
Yeah, almost.
Ace Books.
Yeah.
The letter from Ace Books. You can read this later.
Look-
Hairy
look-
Crocs.
Look at the expression on the croc.
Yeah. What's all this with a grid? I'm not understanding it, but anyway.
Roy using the grid method to scale
scale.
up and transfer his classic cover for the Ace paperback 62 release of Otis Albert Klein's Prince of Peril.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's just a classic way of...
Yeah, you project it up.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. I take a thumbnail.
They did it in Renaissance time, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ah.
Some anatomy, comparative
well,
anatomy,
that's
understanding
interesting.
some studies of tigers and other cats. Is it beautiful? Look at the fur, the direction of the fur. That is magnificent. So fur you can capture quite well with a pencil. Even manes of lions, spots of leopards. Incredibly effective. That's a beautiful expression. Cat by Otto Dill. Who's that? Bronx Zoo.
What was it say?
I don't know.
You went to the Bronx Zoo, get your finger out of the way, and you did stuff at the American Museum of Natural History. And he did some of these in the late 30s, while he was still in his teens. So there we are. We've got...
Yeah, they're very, very effective.
That's a
See the
lovely
direction
drawing.
of the pencil strokes
approximate
the direction of the fur
beautifully,
beautifully and give it a sense of realism, believability, and accuracy. Again, the figures in the landscape. So the pastorals and the sort of influenced by the subject matter, the romantic
Serengeti
painters.
Plains. Lion. Look at the rocks.
We think they're rocks. They're probably not.
Oh, they're rocks. Do you think they're meteors that's come down?
Balls of mud or balls of something.
Oh my God! I don't believe it. We're finished.
The Captive Princess, #2. So this is a lovely book, RGK, by IDW, and you can find this, I'm sure, online somewhere on Amazon or wherever.
But
this is a lovely book.
That's a
I
book
enjoyed
you'd
this
keep
very much.
forever. That's a book you'd keep forever.
Yeah, that's,
You wouldn't be passing that on to your mates.
no, absolutely not.
You wouldn't lend it to them either.
All right, well, that's it. This has been a pleasure looking at this, and it's been a very long video, so bravo to you if you've stayed.
Yes.
You can support the museum by subscribing to this channel. Obviously, that would be a great help.
And we've got lots. We've got nearly 400 other films.
So he keeps saying.
So check out our back catalogue.
Yep. So it's goodbye from me, it's goodbye from him, and it's goodbye from Yorick. See you later.
Thanks for the sour persimmons, cousin.